All right, my career suicide continues. Let's talk about the dealership. Oh boy, the dealership. This might be a couple different videos. Let's see where it goes. I'm assuming you watched the salesperson's experience. If you haven't, go watch that first. Don't watch this till you've seen. You got to watch these in order, at least up to this point. So here's the dealer. As the dealer, this industry is extremely incestuous. Extremely. Many dealers will pull the family card on you. Oh, we've been in business 20 years, 30 years, 80 years, 100 years. Third generation, fourth generation, my grandpa's whatever. That's a big story in the RV industry, is how family owned it all is. So here's the thing though. The RV industry is like a hospital and a bunch of doctors working in this hospital, and those doctors have never been sick. The doctors at the hospital have never been sick. They can't relate to the patient. They don't know what the patient is going through. They've never been the patient. They don't know. In the RV industry, most people do not have a trailer or a camper or an RV. Most people in the industry, from service to sales to the manufacturers, most people do not camp. They do not RV. They don't own an RV. They've never owned an RV. They've never bought an RV. They have no idea the experience you're having. None. Very few people. Part of that, let me break away for a moment. Here's an off-ramp. Part of that's because it's a seasonal business. They make all their money in the uptime, summer basically, especially up north, winter down in the south. So it's seasonal. So when it's summertime, if I'm in the RV industry, I am cranking out sales, cranking out RVs. I am busting my butt. When am I supposed to go camping? One of the dealerships I worked for was damn near 6 days a week, 8 in the morning to 8 at night. I mean, okay, it was 5 days a week, 8 to 8. It was insane. And of course, if they schedule a delivery, sometimes it was 6 days a week. So if you're in the RV industry, you ain't going camping. You're not going fishing. You're not hanging out with people. You are working straight through the season. So that's part of the reason people don't camp and live the lifestyle that they are, selling to you. So here's the dealership. They're like a bunch of doctors. Now imagine the nurse walks into the room. The nurse, she's done 100 blood draws this week. She's done 20 this morning. She runs in, she's pulling out the needle, pops the needle, she's doing her thing. She gets the alcohol, she gets the gauze and everything going. And the 7-year-old girl is sitting there terrified. She's never been stuck in the arm with a needle. The nurse doesn't know what that feels like. Done 100 of them. Moves on. Has no concept. Oh, she can feel sorry for her maybe. Help her out. She has no concept really. I can't back this up with statistics, but I will bet you, I will bet you not a single freaking owner of any dealership in this country that's been family owned has been on the other side of the table, has walked into an RV dealership and bought an RV on a whim, spending more money than they spent on anything else other than their house and maybe their car, on a whim, and sat at that table and signed away $20,000 to $200,000 on I'm just here to look. The third generation, fourth generation, even second generation RV owners, they have no concept of what that feels like. None. They have no idea. The salespeople that are laughing at bumping you from $230 a month to $270 a month have no idea what you're going through. They have no clue and no concept. I would argue that most of the manufacturers have no idea what you're going through. So you walk in and nobody understands what you're going through. They just process you. They just process you. I believe that makes it very hard for dealerships to really give a damn about what you're going through. They're just there to move RVs. It's just a business, moving RVs. Don't really care about your experience, not really. And if there's any dealerships that want to call me and fight that, you show me your service base. You show me your service processes. You show me your after the sales spiel. You show me, and this isn't about customer satisfaction stars. Let me talk about that lie in a little bit. But you show me what you really do for that customer, how much you really educate them, how much time you really spend with them, and then you can tell me that you care about the customer experience. It's horseshit. Sorry, it's crap, okay? There might be one of you out there. Let me leave an exception so I'm not completely wrong. I promise you, most of you don't give a damn about the customer experience. Not really. Part of that's necessity though. Let me defend the dealer for half a second. Part of it's necessity. You would not buy a $20,000 depreciating asset toy if you knew everything. You can't. There's no freaking way. You cannot know everything or you would not buy it. So from that perspective, they can't help you out that much. They'd be out of business. But the RV industry is changing. It's changing, and there's another video for you. It's changing. Up to now, dealerships don't have to care. They're making bank. They're making tons of money. The RV industry is growing. It's going crazy. Sales are at records. It's exploding. It's just exploding. Everything's great. So why change the formula? If I'm making money, what's wrong? Why do I need to buy your product, RV Masters? Why do I need to buy your product, Campground XYZ? Why do I need to buy your product, insurance company ABC? I don't need to do anything. I'm having record sales. The one thing that I know as a dealership that actually is the greatest, when that RV crosses the curb, we talked about this in a different video, it's done. It's done. It cannot come back on me. You cannot return it. You cannot call the bank and cancel the loan. I don't have to ever see you again. Now, I'd like to. I want to sell you the next RV. I'd like to have a good name in the community. I'd like to, put on that we care. That's important. That's all business. That's all business. But you're gone. When that crosses the curb, there's very little consumer protection in the RV industry. Very, very little consumer protection. And as a dealership, I know that. So I don't have to have the nicest building. I don't have to woo you in with, popcorn and hot dogs every Saturday. Many do, but I don't have to. Where else are you going to buy an RV from? There's a lot of things I don't have to do. I don't have to include sewage hoses. I don't even have to give you a spare tire. Some of my RVs come with spare tires and some don't. I don't have to do anything. I just have to do enough to get it across the curb. That's where the dealers are coming from. They don't know what you're going through. They have no concept. They've never done it themselves. They're packing in their own money into the deal, so no matter what they sell it to you for, they make X amount of dollars no matter what. Let me tell you some other sides of the dealership. And I want to try not to get into the service yet. That's a different scenario. But the other part of the dealer's plight / dilemma, and I'm not saying dealers are evil. That's not, I'm passionate about it, and it might be sounding that way now and then. Dealerships aren't evil. I don't think they're doing enough, but they're not evil. So the dealership is up against working with the manufacturer. So the manufacturer, just not going to say any names, but ABC manufacturer, they have certain rules. If you're going to rep my product, if you're going to sell my product, you have to sell X number a year. You have to move so much inventory. You have to represent it a certain way. You have to do and not do certain things. You have to go to this show and sell X number. You have to go to that show and sell X number. You have to display this, display that, whatever it is. The dealers, it's a weird relationship between the dealers and the manufacturers because they need each other. It's a symbiotic relationship, but depending on the day, depending on the year, depending on the market, one of them might have more power over the other. It just kind of depends. And so, the dealership's got these other constraints that they're working within. So the dealer's got these other constraints that they're working within. they have to take their money when they can. I mean, it's a seasonal business. They're not making any money in November if it's 30 degrees outside and 2 inches of snow on the ground. It's just not happening. So, they have to make what they can when they can. So that's a little bit of the life of the dealership. I think that they should do more. I expect a little bit more from them. And consumer demand at some point is going to turn that tide. They are up against a few things that tie their hands. That's not entirely fair. But they know the problems in the industry, and they don't have to address them. So they don't. And that's just a fact. Just look around. Disagree with me, but just open your eyes, walk into a dealership, and tell me about your experience. It's just how it is. So, now you know a little bit more about the dealership.